Hey, it's Nay, and welcome to Hey Nay. So, this is our 99th episode. I cannot believe this has been going on for so long. The topic for today is personality and dating. I did not get any questions from the Hey Nay writers or anything. And that's because I'm actually pretty familiar with personality when it comes to relationships. The reason why I say this as the 99th episode, which is pretty much sort of our last real topic for Hey Nay, I decided to talk about this because it's pretty close to the type of work I'm doing, and I really would like to share that with you guys a little bit more. I can't get too into detail because I don't want to reveal too much of what I'm looking into, but I do want to share some of that. So first, people always say that sometimes our personalities don't connect, or I like this person, but there's something about them that it just doesn't click. A lot of people say, like, women would say that's women's intuition. Men would say it's some sort of gut feeling. But there is some truth to that. There's some truth to that. We tend to like others who are similar to us. So we want someone to reinforce what we already possess sometimes. So it's called the reinforcement affect model. So essentially, if I like that I have a sense of humor, I want someone who can reinforce that for me. You know what I mean? I want someone who has a sense of humor too. I want someone who can show that characteristic as well. And those relationships tend to last longer periods of time. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think there's a lot of explanations for that. So for those of you who are always curious about, how does Match.com figure out who's the best fit for me, or how does eHarmony figure that out, or things like that? That is because they use these algorithms that are based on similarity, and it's usually similarity in personality. So they're looking to see what characteristics you say you possess, to find it in someone else, because we like for those characteristics to be reinforced. We don't want someone who's sort of antagonistic to those qualities that we have. So which is really great, and I think, again, a lot of the research suggests that those relationships last the longest. Those relationships tend to lead to marriage, long-term companionship, and this is not even just true for romantic, intimate relationships. This is also true for friendships and things like that, or family members. Why we maybe tend to be closer to certain family members because they're a lot more similar to us. Why we tend to be closer with some other friends because they're very similar to us, or we love to be in their company because of that reason. And I think that's really, really key. But some of us tend to not always be interested in someone who is similar to us. Sometimes we're interested in someone who is different, or we believe can make us a better person. And a lot of times that's not really a good way of going into a relationship. But there is some research that suggests that, we can pick up certain qualities depending on who we're involved with. And that's called the Selfexpansion model. And the Selfexpansion model, which is done by Arthur Aaron and his wife, her name is slipping me right now. I believe it starts with the L. But the Aarons, essentially. And they have stated that sometimes we are interested in someone else because of the qualities they possess and that we want that quality for ourselves. So I know I talked about this a little bit when I was talking about speed dating. And that's sort of the premise of that. So we're interested in certain people because they can give us a quality that we don't have. We want this quality. We want to be more like this person or in some sort of capacity, and hence why we may get involved in a relationship with them. And a lot of people who do not believe that to be true definitely need to take a reassessment. Even if it may not be true for your romantic relationships, it should definitely be true for your friendships. Because I know for me, for a fact, I believe it's true in both, but I definitely see it more in my friendships. So I have friends who I am similar with, and I do feel a lot more comfortable around them. But then there's other friends who are very different than me, but I like being around them because I believe I'm taking something away from them. I believe I'm becoming more impartial, more objective when it comes to certain things, and that helps. And I think that works in reverse too. I've had a few friends say that like, Nay, I used to be this sort of way, but because of your friendship, I've sort of been able to sort of open my eyes to this, or I've become more like this. And that's really great. It's so phenomenal. And I know sometimes we may misinterpret things. I know I myself may think that, you know, I have a certain type of relationship with someone in which I can say certain things. But a lot of times that may not be the case. And that's when you start to realize that, okay, I see where some issues may occur. So I believe in the self-expansion model. I truly do. But I also believe that we have to be careful with who we are sort of interacting with. You don't want to pick up on certain things that are not they're not really positive, because you can also attribute negative attributes. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to attribute negative characteristics. You don't want to do that. And I've been in a situation in which I felt like, oh, like this is the type of way we talk, and then I'm realizing, oh, you know what, I've crossed the line or something, or I've said something that was inappropriate. So now I'm seeing that, oh, it's actually not like that, because a lot of times the issue that occurs is perception. And let me just unpack that for you. So we sometimes may perceive a person to have this certain characteristic when they actually don't. And that's where we run into trouble. So if we think that they have this quality when they don't, it's sort of like we're pretending, we're pretending to have this characteristic that now causes more discord between you and that person. So let me break it down. Let me give you an example. So for instance, if, let's go back with the sense of humor part. So if I don't have if I don't really have a good sense of humor, but I would like to have one. I would like to be more silly, more charismatic when it comes to jokes and things like that. And I believe that this girl, Judy that I'm interested in, I believe that she has that. So I tend to, I'm around her and I'm thinking that she has it. So I'm like making jokes and things like that. But then it turns out that she doesn't really have a sense of humor either, and that she sort of in a way was pretending herself. I don't know. I know it's a little confusing, but in doing that, it can cause more issues, because then it's like, oh, you're not really like that. So now me being like this makes you feel a certain way. And then that's why a lot of times when people are not similar, the type of relationship tends to be short term. But I still believe, and so does the Aarons. I still believe that that there's a lot of things you can gain from those experiences, and it does make us a better person. And I think it even applies. So, like, we can even talk about briefly our political climate. So, I think if you apply the self-expansion model, you begin to understand things in a more widespread view than you did before. Especially for those of you who believe, you and someone else are not, understanding each other in a political sense. So by applying the self-expansion model, you can sort of like try to understand where they're coming from and try to see, how they see it this way. And you do that by saying like, oh, like, this person is just a very, this person's just a very open person. And that's probably why they support this policy, or they support this candidate, or things of that nature. So because of that openness, you're just like, well, openness is not a negative attribute, so maybe I should try to be more open too. Things like that. I don't want to get too much into it, but that's kind of the gist of that. But there are various different personality types, and you can definitely take several different personality inventories and things like that to assess for your personality. I specifically want to talk a little bit about the extroversion trait when we talk about introverts and extroverts. And, Carl Jung, who's the originator of the terms, states that extroverts are, a lot more impulsive in thinking, impulsive in actions, enjoy crowds and groups, while introverts are a lot more introspective. They prefer smaller groups, intimacy, small intimate moments and things of that nature. And there's a lot more characteristics that go along with that. But I just don't want to get too much into it. But a lot of you typically do sort of understand what introverts and extroverts mean. And I think that there's a lot that can be said from those type of people who you are. We know that research suggests that extroverts is the admirable personality type. So people want to be extroverts even if they're not. But I think that's just because of our social climate as well as our technological climate. So we're all trying to say things about ourselves. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're outgoing, we're traveling, all the blah, blah, blah. So we have that sort of nature. So we believe that that's good, and like people like that. But I wouldn't count out the introvert personality type. I wouldn't count it out at all. Actually, we know that research suggests that majority of Americans are introverts, and I think that is because people are a lot more in their head than they think. I think we try to be very thoughtful, and we try to think about what we do and how our actions affect other people. So we're very cautious when it comes to our interactions. And can these two essentially form relationships? Yes. I believe it. I believe you can. I believe you can. I believe you definitely can through self-expansion. And, there's a lot of things that can come from that. You can pick up certain attributes from each other through the self-expansion model. But I also think that when you're really interested in long term, you're probably going to want someone who is more similar to you. You're probably going to want someone who's more similar. And like I said, similar is relative. I never said that. I'm saying it for the first time. So similarity is a relative term. So it's not black and white as I may have made it sound before. So it's not like similar, dissimilar. No, it's that the more similar you are, or the more, because everyone's not going to be the same person. So you may want someone who's more similar than dissimilar when you're thinking of long term. And research suggests that the more similar you are, the more likely you are to be married and things of that nature. So for those of you who have long term dating relationships, what might be preventing you from crossing that barrier may be the fact that you're not as similar yet, or you're not that similar at all. But there's a lot of things that can come with that, and there's a lot of things that can change, because we are forever changing people. So that's pretty much it. I've already talked way too much than I thought I was going to talk. But essentially, this is sort of the last topic. So I just wanted to share this with you all and everything. I also want to say thank you all. I've already been getting kind words already as we're starting to approach the end. Thank you for the kind words. I hope to hear some more. So thank you very much for all of that. So we have one more episode of Hey Nay, and that is it. I would like to encourage you all to keep on checking the Hey Nay Facebook page, because I'm going to be sharing a lot of things that I believe will be coming. And for those of you who are already friends with me personally on Facebook and things of that nature, I will be sharing some things will be sharing on my wall as well. I do plan on, and this is sort of a last minute decision, I do plan on doing some sort of Facebook Live, also Instagram Live, as an after show of sorts, just to debrief and get some more questions if people want to. So please look out for that. I will be posting that information as to when that would be and things like that. It will definitely be mentioned in the final episode next week as well. So I'm hoping to have that final episode posted sometime in the early morning. Sometime in late morning or early afternoon on Saturday. And then that evening/night, I should be going live. And I hope that you guys come with questions, kind things to say, only positivity, please, and things of that nature. But that's it. And thank you all so much. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next and final episode. Subscribe, like, share, and love. And remember to always start your day off with a hey. Goodbye.